Bomb bomb. All right, guys, welcome to the Monday night call. So today we're going to get stuck into just a bit of a recap from ICE Uni. We had ICE Uni over here in Perth, and it was a really, really good event. Like, it wasn't the biggest ICE Uni we've had. It was a little bit smaller than one last year, but it was by far the best small event they've done. Like, they kind of combined a little bit, for the guys that have been to a few of the events, a little bit of the university in action stuff in there, like 30-second story and like you share, they share training. So it was like people really walked away with solid belief, but solid skills. Like, I spoke to a few people that celebration was their first event, and they kind of got excited and bought into the vision and all that, but they kind of didn't know where to go next. Whereas they were walking away from this event grounded with some basic skills, with their list ready to get to work. So if you have a chance to get to an ICE Uni at any point during the year, they run them sort of all around Oz. The next ones will be over on the East Coast. Do yourself a favor and get to that, and get to there with some of your team, because like me and Reese were just touching on before we started the recording, just the caliber of events just keeps getting better and better. So definitely get yourself to an ICE Uni if you can. So we're going to just recap some of the main things. Obviously, it's a 2-day event that we're trying to squeeze into 30 minutes or so, 40 minutes or so. The first thing was the product section. I've been doing this nearly 4 years. Hey, Mandy from Bali. Nearly 4 years. And this was by far the best I have seen the Isogenics products explained and run through. And I actually learnt some stuff. And I've been to about 5 million Wellness Wednesdays, every single event since I started. And I still learnt some stuff. But there was so much to take in, and I had a big list of notes. But what I'm actually going to do, the lady who ran that, Kathleen, I'm just going to get her on a call for us, and then record it so we've got a tool, because her running through the ins and outs and the nitty gritty of the products would be a fantastic tool for anyone that wants to know the specifics of the products. So I'll either make that a Monday night call, or I'll just do a call with her and get some questions from the group, and record it. So it's a nice little tight, not dragged out too long for people tool. But that was epic. That was incredible. And then we had Ben Kelly. So Ben Kelly did the why piece, and I got a lot out of it. He spoke about just not trying to glamorize your why, checking in and making sure it's not bullshit, not comparing to others. But the thing he made a real point on was he almost didn't talk about the big why, the big vision very much at all. He basically talked about alignment and values and the importance of that small why, which for most people starts with getting their products paid for. It's where it started with him. But he's like, approach that small why with the passion and enthusiasm that you would this big extravagant goal. So it's like, bring that same passion to the smaller stepping stones, and that the people that do that are the people that have success fast, and the people that have success long term. Because then there's no better way to build belief than to hit goals consistently and start to get runs on the board. So you're better off to set smaller goals that are very attainable, get some wins under your belt, and especially when we're setting people up, allow them to do the same, because those little wins will build belief in them more than any event or any podcast will. So he talked a lot about the stepping stones. He spoke a lot about values, and like we've had been lucky enough to hear and have a lot of training around that from Sarah. But it was just good to reinforce it, because it's like, it really is just so important. I think the most important thing is, and everybody's different, but for me, I've tried to change my values a couple of times. So I've done my values and say money didn't come in the top 3, right? And I'm like, well, I want to increase the amount of money I'm earning. I'm going to change it so that money's in my top 3. And you can do that. But that hasn't really seemed to work for me. And what I do now instead is just the other process you can do. Like, rather than changing your values, you can link it. So if my highest value was to travel, and that's a very easy one, but it's like the linking process, and Sayers has run through this quite a bit before, but it's like literally writing down hundreds of reasons, filling pages of why more money or, building a bigger business, why that would help you fulfill your highest value more. And it's literally emptying your brain with all of that. And what I did it like for money. I did it and I just called it like my conscious abundance flow. And it was pretty much like when I did it, I was in a state where I was like, this is coming off the back of the New Way Live and Peter Kelly, and your vibration is your gift. So our number one job is to live in alignment, raise our vibration, and share that with people. So if my vibration is my number one priority, how would bringing in more money, what would I actually spend it on that would raise my vibration? I got a big ass list of things that I would spend it on. Travel, new laptop, camera, like all this stuff. And it can be as materialistic as you want. And then also a big list of things that I would contribute to. So then I had 2 full pages of these things. And I didn't really realize it at the time, but what I was doing was the DeMartini values linking thing. So with your why, it's either you've got to change your goals to match your values, or change your values to match your goals, or link your values. So we've spoken about it a bit before, but it's like just recheck in. I've gone over it, 2 or 3 times, and I really cleaned it up this weekend looking at it again. So just check in with that and make sure you're on point with that, and then link it to, once you've done that, a really small, manageable, bite-sized goal. Start with real small why. I've just got some notes here. Oh, and he made a really good point about fear. Like the biggest reason we won't do something, or people in our business won't do something, is because of fear. So, and often they're waiting for the fear to go, or they try to get rid of the fear before they do something. And fear is just an emotion, and emotion is just energy in motion. And it's like, emotions you can't get rid of them. You can just transmute them or change them. Energy by definition can't be destroyed. It can just change form. So it was like, rather than putting energy into try to get rid of the fear, change it into something else. So I heard a really good quote, and it was just, fear is just excitement without the breath. So it's like, rather than waiting for this fear to go, it's like, change your state and change that emotion. And you can do that simply by breathing. And when you're conscious of it, into a new emotion, rather than sitting around and waiting until it feels good to then do it. Because there's a difference between feeling good and feeling aligned. So you can feel aligned but still be uncomfortable as shit, but you're still aligned. But at the end of it, you feel good after you've done it. So I thought that was the physiology patterns of fear. Exactly, Jack. I thought that was a really good point from Ben. And the other one, he spoke a lot about DeMartini stuff. This will be old news for Says. But he was like, nobody gets to be void of challenges. So we're all going to have challenges. And if we don't choose inspiring challenges, we're going to get delivered uninspiring challenges. So we're going to have, if we don't go for our goals, we're going to have challenges. They're just going to be real shit ones. So we may as well encounter and overcome challenges on the way towards something that we want, something that's going to fulfill us more, something that's going to improve our quality of life and the quality of life of those around us, and invite in worthy challenges rather than not do that and settle for shit challenges, because we're going to get challenged. And we get to choose. And then the last thing I'll touch on from Ben was just a quote. So get your pen out, write this one down. It was real good. It was, your ego wants you to be a hero. Your soul needs you to be honest. So this is just, I guess, coincides with not glamorizing the why. Like, your ego probably wants you to have this massive goal and be on stage, and that might be true for you, but it might not. And if it's not, your soul is going to be like, man, you don't give a shit about that. Sorry, I'll repeat now. Your ego wants you to be a hero. Your soul needs you to be honest. So it's like, get real. Like, your ego will tell you based on comparison that, well, this person's doing this and we're running in the derby and they've enrolled or this, and it'll create a story because that's how it gets fed. But it's like, if that doesn't actually align with you, you're going to battle because your soul just wants you to be real with where you're at. And it's like, if the two don't match up, there's going to be conflict. And that conflict shows up as stress, as getting run down, as just feeling anxious or whatever. It shows up in different ways for different people. But if we don't have that alignment, then yeah, we're going to struggle. And we've spoken about this stuff before, but there were just a few slight tweaks on things that I thought were really, really beneficial. Now, I've got a bunch of notes from some of the other speakers, but what I'll do first, just so I don't steal everybody else's thunder, is I'm just going to open the line for a couple of the other guys that were there to share their main takeaways. So, Jem, I might get you to unmute and run through the Georgie Thomas, all the follow-up stuff.
Hey guys. So on the weekend, Georgie did a piece on the stats of follow-up, and most people don't get on board ISA until the 5th to 12th follow-up. And now, that's really, really important because most of us, don't follow up that much, or we think that we're pestering that person. So a way that she did fantastically in explaining it, she gave us, and I'll put them up in the group so you can have a look at them. I won't take up too much time and read them all now, but she actually gave us 12 completely different ways to follow up with someone. And I'll put them in, so I won't go over them too much, but I'll just give you a few that, catching up with coffee is one, just checking in, sending them one message is one, and then creating urgency is another way, and then, sending a tool. So there's just all these different little ones that some of them you don't even have to talk about ISA, you don't even have to mention ISA, it's just counted as that follow-up, and if you just mark out that person's name and 1 to 12 and you just go through the motion, you'll eventually one of those 5 to 12 times of catching up with that person. They'll
maybe tell the PT one.
Oh, I won't go into that too much, but that was my biggest takeaway because that was probably my biggest takeaway of just totally different, and then adding them into a Facebook page for prospecting. And then another great one was checking in and asking if they wanted to be taken out of that prospecting page, and then you can kind of create another conversation from that. So it was just creating different conversations instead of being like, are you interested? Are you still interested? Hey, where are you at? So that was probably my big takeaway.
Yeah, awesome. No, that was really good. And then just the reminder to follow up and check in with people that you've added into the page, because I'd heard that before and I'd done it with a few people, but I after hearing that, I went and checked last night and there was 5 people that that I'd added to the page and kind of just forgotten to follow up with. I went and all asked them if they wanted to be removed, and 4 of them, they're like, no, loving it. It's really inspiring. Just don't have the money right now. And so it's just, I find that the best way to reconnect with people. Awesome. Thanks, Jem. Our doggy dog, I might get you to unmute and share a few of your main takeaways. You've been to you've got a few events under your belt now. So, what did you love about ICU?
Hi guys, I've been MIA for a while, so it's lovely to see all your faces. So the biggest thing overall for me was basically events are key. I went to Celebration, and that was my first event and a first kind of rekindling back for a while. A few months of being just, in the background, and I came back and I thought, oh, look, do I really need to go to ICU? It's only, it was only 4 weeks after essentially celebration. And to be honest, this event for me has probably been the best one that I've ever been to in my whole history in 3.5 years of being involved with ISA. One, yes, for the content. I mean, look, to be honest, they do repeat a lot of stuff. I mean, a lot of stuff if you've been involved in a while, it's very similar content, but every presenter presents it very differently, and it really just does reignite your belief and inspiration in why Isagenix is such an amazing company. And also it just rekindles different snippets of information that perhaps you've forgotten, or perhaps because, you know, you hadn't been to an event for a while or haven't tapped into a certain part of the business in a while. You know, it refires that or reignites that in you. So that was my biggest thing. It's like, events are so key, and like, please, if you're doing it, we're all doing the business. And so if they're in your area, you have to get to them. And, you know, a big part, they did the whole section again on the biggest, on just inviting people to events, because again, it was the number one paid skill in network marketing is bringing people to events. But you absolutely understand why, because of just the vibe, the energy. And, you know, Isagenix, like Mac Larson, the DM, he's just brought such an incredible,
so good.
And it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. So that was my biggest takeaway for me personally.
Yeah.
Benny Kelly, look, he's a funny dude, and he does his piece well. But I suppose for me, the biggest part was that, and Tal talked about the highest values, but for me, it was linking your highest values. So if you want to talk about your highest values, it's also what you're actually really good at and what you think about most in the day. So it might not be, you think, oh, what's my highest value? And you're trying to define what it is. Well, break it down to what are you really good at, and what you think about a lot during the day, and what comes to you really naturally. And sometimes it's because you think about it and it's just in you all the time, you can't often, might not be able to identify yourself. So ask a close friend what you're good at, because they might be able to identify it better than you can, because it's so in your face all the time. And that really helped me, because linking that highest value, or that where you shine, to a point in the business that you can, so how you can link that into doing the business is where you're going to be key, because that's where you're most in alignment. And I'll just give you a quick example. Mine is not social media, and I've tried for so long to make social media a high value of mine, and it's just not. And every time I try and do it, there's a rift there. There's a kink, and I just realised it's not a high value of mine. But it doesn't mean I can't build this business, and it doesn't mean I can't make those connections, because my highest value is one-on-one, talking emotional, and getting really deep with people on a face-to-face level. Does that make sense with everyone? What I'm trying to get across? That's just giving my personal example as one, but yours, wherever it sits, it may sit. But if you're trying to depict your highest value, maybe ask someone else, and someone else close in the business or really close friend of ours could probably help you identify it maybe more than you can.
Awesome. And that goes for the strengths too.
Absolutely, yeah. The other one by Melinda and Khan. Now, those two, I've never heard them speak. They rose to millionaire in maybe 3 years, I think, from zero to millionaire in 3 years. The biggest takeaway I took from them, I mean, they shared a lot, and I didn't write heaps of notes, so if someone else did.
I've got them covered after as well.
Cool. Well, but the biggest thing I took was they had combined 20 to 25 years of personal development and interacting experience before that, and essentially network marketing skills experience before they got into the network marketing business. Even though they had no experience in network marketing, their background and what they were already doing is all of that personal development skills. So in terms of comparison, like a lot of the work that is involved in building your business is obviously, as we know this, relationships, building skills. But in terms of comparing yourself to someone who goes really fast, a lot of, like, the people that do that already have those skills. And so I suppose it just implores and really just makes you understand that if you're having trouble with those interacting skills, or personal development isn't perhaps that you haven't done a lot of it, just work on that and work on yourself and work on those skills, maybe even more than just building like the business skills. Obviously they're just as important, but I'm just saying, like, those types of, what did they call them? They called them people skills, or I can't remember what they exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember the title they gave them, but essentially like connecting skills, people skills.
Yeah. And so, and that's why, and for a very big reason, a part of the people who go quick go really quick because they've got that under their belt already.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that comparison thing as well was a big, and Brett and Sammy were the same. Like, all these people that you see, you don't know their story, and it's like you just can't. And naturally, our way to compare is to make ourselves feel worse. And like Jackson Parr did a piece about celebrations, about if you're going to compare to people, compare in a way that's going to make you feel better. Like, rather than saying, well, Brett and Sammy went so fast, it's like, well, if they could do it with 5 kids, surely I can do it. But it's like, you just don't know what people's skill set is. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know how much support they've got. You don't know how many challenges they've got. So yeah, I took a lot from that as well. Thanks, Al. Did you have anything else there, Al, or we'll get on and we'll just hear from...
Look, I didn't. Those were probably my main pieces. Cool. I mean, I got it from Melinda and Carm, but if you've got notes, it's probably more succinct if you do it.
Yeah, I've got notes here, so I'll run through that, and then feel free to jump in and just add anything as well. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll just get Craig up now to share his main takeaways.
Hey, guys.
Up in the Donga, up in FIFO land.
Yeah, sorry if my internet cuts out. It's pretty crap tonight for some reason. The main thing was, for me, that was my first event. I've been trying to get to events, just it hasn't been working out. I know I'm making excuses and stuff, but yeah, first event, got there, so pumped after, it was so good. One of the real takeaways was, I know there's science behind the product, but actually getting it all broken down, and actually the science that actually goes into these products is absolutely crazy. And knowing that's the science that goes in, that's how good your results are, sort of thing. Another thing is, I'm so bad with getting on the phone. I'm always just so much information into a message. So like, they recommend like 4 to 5 messages, and then get on a phone. Just get on a phone call, like, because they can hear like your enthusiasm in your voice, and you can get so much more information across in a phone call too. Anna spoke about the compensation plan. Gemma drew it out for me when she first enrolled me, and it got me started, and it was so good. I didn't want to go down that line, but it was always in the back of my head because she had drawn that out. And I think the first 2 people that I enrolled, I drew it out for them. It started drawing out for them, and they're like, nah, it's not for me. But like, as Anna said, Peter didn't care. She still wrote it down for her. Like, she wrote it out on the table at the Chinese restaurant for her, and that seed was planted. And she said, like, 6 o'clock the next morning, she was at home just like studying it, and she just used that and sort of planting the seed, sort of thing, that option's there, and we're obliged to show people that as well. So there's the option of getting your products paid for, and even more. Another thing, I wasn't really from anything that was...
Oh, we might have lost him. Donga Wi-Fi, no good. We'll give him a couple of seconds.
Did I freeze?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry. Yeah, didn't really what any of the speakers said. It was just being at the event and seeing. I know we've got this whole start movement and trying to like get young people started and get people like looking as fit as you can, but seeing. I'll tell you, my parents were over here in Australia for 2 months, and seeing my dad's now 62, and he's been so sick that he's been on like such medication, and he's like 20 kilos overweight, like he would do with losing 20 kilos. And speaking to like so many older people like at the event, that it's changed their life and given their life back. And my dad's more or less just given up. He's just living the day. He even told me himself, he's just living the day. So like, if I just want to focus on like the older generation too, like to get that spark back in their life and actually want to live again, you know.
Yeah, epic, man. That's so good. You must be excited to get those products over there.
So good.
So yeah, epic, man. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, man. It was good to have you there.
So good. I'll be at the next one.
Yeah, you will. Yeah. Start tour coming to a town near you, wherever you are. Epic. All right. Thanks, man. That was good. So I'm going to close out with a couple of other things. So Melinda and Khan spoke, and if you haven't heard them speak, like they're epic. They go about it in a really good way. And the first thing I got from them was what Al brought up, the experience that they brought to it. And they also very much, if you're building this in a couple, they played to each other's strengths extremely well. And you could tell that they separated roles and did their own thing and didn't try to be the other person at all. And that was their first message, was like, yeah, we've got to work on the skills that we lack. And it's like, of the 6 skills, where do we struggle most? That's where we work. But it's also like, as humans, we function better when we spend more time doing things that we're good at. So it's like, where are you strong? Like I touched on before, are you stronger? Are you better at sitting down with someone face to face? Or are you really efficient at sending voice messages and getting that message across with a lot of people? It's like, try different things out, figure out what works for you. A good way to figure out what works for you is go back and look at all the people you've enrolled. How did you go about it? Did you catch up with them? Did you speak to them on the phone? Did you have a Zoom call? Actually go and do a little stock take. And this was a game changer for me. I've said it a couple of times before on a call, but I was trying to do heaps of launch parties for myself. And I've never enrolled a single person from me running a launch party for myself since I've done this business, ever. I've enrolled people from leveraging other people's launch parties, and don't ask me why, but that's just the way it was. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to put more energy into doing that because it's given me no fruit from my business so far, but 95% of mine have been catching up with people one-on-one. So it's like, just check in and literally go through the people you've enrolled. If you've only enrolled a couple, that's a good start. If you haven't enrolled any, that's all right. Just, I guess, check in with what you enjoy more, or what you're naturally better at, and work with that. Khan was really good at kind of almost David Wood-esque at getting people just to relax and not be weird. He's like, network marketing is not weird, people are weird. And he's like, just make friends with no agenda. But
Hey,
yo.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to add something to that, just listening into what you're saying about the launch parties, because it's awesome. I absolutely love it. Something that did come to mind, and, you know, obviously it is being aware of, you know, looking back and who have you enrolled, and did it come from running launch parties, or did it come from connecting in and just doing 3-way calls? It made me think of Laura Stevens, who shared on Isagenic's business ANZ page. Foxy interviewed her. Highly recommend searching that. And
what was her name?
Laura Stevens. She's a
10-star
platinum, but 15-star executive. So she made 15 execs. And, you know,
3 months. She runs them to exec in 3 months.
So people who, you just go and listen. But gets people who are keen and they want to run, she'll get them there in 3 months. She's only been doing it for 3 years. And something that I remember her saying, like, because the Americans are just so incredible at, you know, with launch parties, just doing it week in, week out. And I know Jackson Parr spoke about the power of doing launch parties and getting in front of people at celebration. But Laura, with all of her success, talked about how her first 6 launch parties, it was just her. And she was, you know, and she didn't let it wear her down. She'd go back to her husband, and her husband would say, okay, well, what can we do differently next time? Why do you think it's happened like this? And she just learned from it each time. So I just wanted to add that in, because events are epic. Like this ISA Uni just sounds incredible. I'm loving hearing all of these takeaways. But the mini events that you have in between, don't discredit them, because that's what you've got to work towards to keep that community going and to keep getting connected in. So, yeah, still bringing your strengths to that. But yeah, that was just something I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's like, and collaborating is a big one too. So it's like, if you're a good speaker, it's like you speak, somebody might be good at it. Somebody might be a socialite and then get lots of people there. So it's like still leverage events, and just collaborate on different skills. Like I'm going to run weekly events, but they're at this woman's house. So I'll still be running like weekly launches, but it's like at her house because she doesn't want to do all the speaking and that, but she'll just go and talk to everybody. So it's like, yeah, you can't, and again, it's the stepping stone. It's a big jump from somebody not knowing anything to coming to an IC uni. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, if you look at the Peter Kelly momentum, all of that, that was events too. It looked a bit different than launch parties, but it was still those weekly events. Because they're the key. That's when people feel it. Like, yeah, go Lovey.
And yeah, obviously just the confidence as well that people gain from running events. That's probably, even these little platforms here is where we start to grow and speak and learn, and then launch parties are where we're standing in front of people, and then it grows from there. So I think it might have even been Jackson Parr that shared at something or other lately when we're with him that he always gets his people to do them, and like you utilise people around you, but force yourself to speak as well to get better at them, because you're just going to, your confidence goes through the roof.
Exactly. And baby step people, like let them share their story first a couple of times. And it's like, one thing I do is always make people think they're doing me a favor, even if they're not a product sharer. I'll ask them if they can come and do me a favor and share their story, because people will do a lot of stuff for other people, but if they think it's for themselves, they won't do it. But if they think they're helping you out, they'll probably come and do it. And then they do it and they love it. And they're like, oh, wow, because they get so much love for it. And it's like, that can be enough to tip people over the edge and realize they can, by simply sharing their story, help people with this. So, yeah, awesome point. Cool. Yeah, and Khan talked a lot about relaxing, saying hello, the basic connecting. Literally just make friends. Like, we're in the business of making besties, Georgie Thomas said. But that works so well for them because they're very consistent on their social media. So because of that consistency, people can get a very good idea of what they're about without them having to get it in the first conversation, and also leveraging their support page. So just relax and make friends, but you need to do it with some sort of strategy as well, because I remember I heard that at my first David Wood event and I just loved it because I was like, wicked, I was relax and make friends. And then I just didn't end up speaking to anybody about Isagenix. So you've got to have that, you still got to have that strategy of how you're going to move people along the pathway. And they spoke about social media. They were really good about that because we hear about building your brand and personal brand and all of that stuff, which is awesome. But that can also be a bit overwhelming for a lot of new people. Some people don't want a personal brand. So Khan was just like, just be yourself, but on social media. They don't have scheduled posts. They don't. And they're like, that works for some people and it might be working for you. But it was good because they just gave people permission to do it themselves. The book, so Melinda, she's an absolute operator. You can tell she's the red in the relationship. It was pretty funny. But she's like, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Who's actually read that book? Has anybody read that? How to Win Friends and Influence People? It's Michael Klaus's #1 recommendation, and it was these guys' #1 recommendation. And it's stuff that you might already know. When I read it a while back when I heard Michael Klaus recommend it. And some of it I was like, yeah, I kind of already know that, but it reinforces things you already know and gives you some direction. But it's an incredible tool because even just being around this environment for a bit of time, you naturally start to improve your connecting skills. And it's like, people that come into this business, the #1 fear that people have, and they spoke about this, is having a conversation with another person. And this book basically boils down that to its most basic skills. So it's a very Yeah, exactly. Okay. It's a tool you can use. So if people come back and they're like, they just struggle talking to people, or they want to learn more about connecting with people, this is the tool that I would recommend them. I would definitely get them reading that book. And they spoke a lot about stop thinking about what you're going to say and actually listen. So get out of your head and into your heart. Like, don't try to figure out how you're going to squeeze Isogenics into the convo, because people they can feel it. Like, get into your heart, get into your body and listen. And they spoke about the numbers as well. And this was an eye-opener. And they were like, this is based on company averages. And they were like, if you want to earn consistently 10 cycles a week, the people that have done and are doing that, it's about 500 conversations about Isogenics with people. That's the averages. So it's like, people can have those 500 conversations. You can do it in a leverage way. Launch parties, you're going to have a conversation with 10 people at once. So you can leverage that up. But you can do that in 1 year. You can do that in 5 years. You can do that in 5 months. And the people who go the fastest are probably just doing that the fastest. So that was a good thing to think about as well. And one thing they touched up on, they were like, don't check in with your intention when you go to speak to people, but also 500 PER. 500. What do you mean by 500 PER?
No, it's fine. You just answered that. 500 per.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, if it's 500 conversations per month, that gets you to 10 cycles. Or if you choose...
Oh, no, cumulative. Yeah. For
over whatever time.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yep. So, yeah, no, that was cumulative based on the fact that 1 in 10 would enroll and then 1 in 10 will do something. So, yeah, and they were touching on, just be present in the conversation. And you can tell, give them a little bit. They were like, Melinda was really good for this. Like, give them, how are things going? Yeah, business is good. If they don't ask another question about it, don't tell them any more about it. And they're like, if you do bring it up in more of a direct, I guess, approach, be the first one to change the subject. So as soon as you can sense that they're not interested, just change the subject and move on. And it just keeps things flowing much smoother. And then they gave a little quote from Warren Lance. And this comes back to like getting out of your head and into your heart and just slowing down a little bit, because Eric mentions, 500 conversations per month. Yeah, that's to enroll the 20 and 30. Lockie just posted a good link to Eric Warre webinar. But the quote they used was, the world is giving you opportunities each day. Learn to listen. So it's like, spend just as much time being present and seeing what's already there and seeing what's coming to you as you are going out and getting stuff. And I think I've definitely noticed that. Like, I've had more people come to me in the last month than ever before, because I've just started being more present, and that comes with just daily practice and all that sort of thing. And then I think Craig touched on this one, but Melinda, have the courage to not enroll, or the posture to not enroll someone. So if she's chatting to someone on Facebook and they don't want to jump on a phone call, she will not enroll them. If somebody wants to give their details over the phone, over the chat messenger, she actually won't enroll them, because she knows they're not going to get the results they deserve. They're going to be hard to work with, and it's not going to be worth her time. So she actually tells people, no, I'm not going to enroll you. When you've got a chance to get on the phone with me, then we can chat, because I'm not going to be able to support you properly if I can't get on the phone with you. And she only does a max of 4 messages back and forth. So she's chatting to someone, they express interest. She won't go back and forth more than 4 times before saying, look, I'm busy right now. Can we jump? When are you free to jump on a phone call? So whether that's voice messaging or over text, it's actually taking it from there to get them on the phone, or get them to a one-on-one catch-up if you're in your area. But I don't know how if you guys have spent lots of time just going back and forth, sending info or chatting about this or hearing health goals, or it's like 4 times and she tries to get through that. Yeah, that's happened to me. Yeah, exactly, Kelsey. So it's like, get them on the phone. And it's a very clear indicator and Jeffrey Combs talks about this. He's like, when we're talking to people, have the posture, remember that we've got the gold and we're qualifying people for our time. So if somebody doesn't have 10 minutes to get on the phone with you, then they're not ready at that point. They're not in a time in their life where they're ready to make a change if they don't have 10 minutes to jump on a phone to talk about it. It's like keep them there, love them where they're at, and find the people that are ready, because our job is to find the people that are ready now. Yeah, go Love Train.
Something just to touch on that a little bit more as well, mate, is what we've found powerful, and sorry to keep butting in, but
no, it's good. I love it.
What we've found really powerful, and actually Marie, who's on the call right now, is saying that it is only 10 minutes. Saying, look, it's only a 5 or 10 minute call. A lot of people find that they might not have however
good
much
distinction.
time.
Yeah.
Just to say, look, it's only a 10-minute chat. Like Rhea said to Marie, do you have a lunch break, or do you have 5 minutes between something? And that was enough for Marie to go, yep. And, sometimes that's enough just to prompt people to find that 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
Because people might think it's half an hour and they don't actually have half an hour, but, a nice quick call and get it done.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I personally haven't been doing. I actually say, like, when are you free for a call? And there's some cake here as well. Awesome. Cheers. Got some cake waiting for me when I'm done. Eyes of Body Challenge though, so I'll be giving that a miss. I actually do say in my head, I know it's going to be a 10 to 15 minute call, but I just say, when are you free for a chat on the phone? So that's a really good point to stress the fact that it is 5 to 10 minutes. And then the last thing they touched on, have the posture to say no. So again, if they're not going to get on a phone call, they're not going to really stick to a 30-day cleanse. And they just talked about sponsorship and taking that for what it really means and taking responsibility for people. And it's like, it's a bit of a paradox, because you hear people say, I'm not taking responsibility for your health or financial results. I can't remember who said that, someone at Celebration, Tanya Kirkpatrick, because you want to put the responsibility on them to take it into their own hands. But she just touched on it more in terms of keep following up. Like, if people drop off the bandwagon, we've sponsored them into the business. Life happens. So it's like, just check in every sort of 2-3 months when you're getting product users going. Hey, how are you going with your health goals? Like, I know you haven't been using the system in a while. We're doing another group cleanse or whatever, or we're getting people started on the Eyes of Body Challenge. She was like, just love them like you did when they first enrolled the whole time, not just when you're getting your PIB and it's exciting. And I thought that was a really cool, ethos to take to your whole business. Last thing I'll just finish up with, because we've gone 45 minutes, but it was just Anna spoke on the you share, they share, and she shared a couple of stats, but her whole piece was prefaced on the fact that who are we to not share that with people? Like, there are literally people investing thousands of dollars in seminars to learn how to make money. And she shared the story of, she was 3 months in and they went to T.R. Becker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind live event. And she didn't know residual. And they started talking about passive income. And Jimmy's an accountant. And she turned to Jimmy and was like, is passive income what we earn? He's like, no, ours is residual. And she's like, so that's better because that helps us earn passive. He's like, yeah, that's better. And she's like, it just clicked for her. She's like, everybody is looking for this. People are spending literally thousands of dollars on coaches and businesses and all this stuff. And she's like, and then she dropped some stats of how financially stressed Australians are at the moment and the fact that it's just gotten worse in the last 5 years. I didn't actually get a chance to write them down. It was something like 49% of Australian families if the fridge broke in their house right now, they wouldn't be able to get it fixed at the time that it broke. And there was all this, just Google current like financial strats. The Australian Psych Association does it, but it was just a bit of an eye opener because we've been we're around it for so long that you kind of take it for granted. But there are people that are actually A, needing this, B, spending a lot of time and money looking for this. So it's like, her piece was only on You Share, They Share. It wasn't a big inspirational piece, but it was just really like, let's get real with this for a second, guys. Like, there are people that are battling, and with a small amount of money, it could actually save marriages. It can change lives. And it really just hit home with me on another level. So we might think we're only sharing You Share, They Share with people, but what you're actually doing is opening the door for people. And whether or not they step through it is up to them, but that's not our job. Our job, like she was like, if you're a nurse, your job is to attend to patients. If you're a policeman, your job is to show up and do policeman stuff. As network marketers, our job, and it's not even the health side because the products do that, our job is to show people what's available and to share the vision of the company, not to split it in half. That's our job as network marketers, whether you're doing it part-time or full-time. And yeah, go Love Train.
Sorry, mate. So just a couple of real quick things. Another thing that I've found has been really powerful lately, like you just mentioned about not just the health, but financial stress, and saying this to people is a massive factor on your health. So we've found that really powerful, sharing that with people, and then sharing You Share, They Share, the link long before they've enrolled, and we show them that they can get their money back. It's like, this is what you can make, as well as getting your health back, and integrating that conversation in with financial stress is a massive factor on Australian health. So it goes hand in hand. You're spot on, mate. Like, we need to keep sharing it straight away.
100%. And they've made it so easy. That video is so good.
Yeah, it's great. But I literally send a Mary Evans with You Share, They Share, repeat. Because then it's done, broken the ice. We're proud of what we do. So
yeah, no, I love it. I think that was all I had. Yeah, we'll wrap it up there. If anybody else has anything to add, otherwise we'll wrap it up. It's a bit earlier on the East Coast. Hey guys, a bit nicer now that daylight savings is gone. So good. 9:30 on a Monday. Nobody got time for that. Yeah, epic, guys.
Sorry, mate, I'm on mute.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, Tyler, I had you on mute. Yeah, it's nice, a bit earlier, mate. It's a bit of relief for the lovies and us.
Yeah, all the East Coast crew. There's a few more faces on, which is good. Very good. Cool. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up there, I think. The thing to think about now, what I would be bringing focus to, we've heard about how epic events are. The next string of events, I think there's a Super Saturday or Super Sunday in Melbourne soon. Is that right? Yeah, when's that?
The 6th of May.
6th of May. Okay, cool. And then we've got the Start Vision Tour. It's at the 2nd in Perth, I think, and the 3rd in Melbourne on the Wednesday. So that's where a lot of my focus would be going, guys, would be inviting people and building to those events. Those Start tours are really good. They're short, they're sharp. It's a $10 ticket. It's a couple of hours. Like, I would be literally working your list and getting people there. Set yourself a challenge now. Invest in the tickets. Like, I'm going to buy 10 to start with now. And then once I've got, and then I've got to find, I want to find 10 new people that I can bring to that event, because it's such a low barrier to entry. Homework, everyone to bring minimum of 2 people to the next event. Yeah, good. Minimum 2, especially the Start tours. Like, let's blow it up. All right, crew. Well, that's a wrap. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go not eat cake. And I'll speak to you all soon.
Thanks heaps, Tal. That was awesome. Thanks,
No
everyone,
worries.
for sharing.
Thanks, guys.
I'll get the recording up ASAP.
Thanks, Tal.
Thanks, Tal.